Welcome, mere mortalites, to another mere mortals meanderings.
Oh yeah,
I am your host, Kyrin, but I also have my other host,
Juan right here.
Juan is in the building.
We are the mere mortals.
We are the
welcome,
mere
mere
mortals.
mortalites. Welcome.
Yeah, and meanderings is one where we're talk a little bit more lighthearted. There's nothing too serious going on, although
Correct.
I do have some serious things to talk about.
Do you
I'm
in
gonna
the
say
meandering
anyway.
sessions? Okay. Yeah,
They'll be
yeah.
semi-serious.
All right.
But yes, so I will be talking a little bit about...
A little bit about.
I'm going to keep doing this, actually, just to annoy you. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a recent experience I had at the orchestra. Or not, it wasn't... It was like the theatre/orchestra.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Hard to say. And a run that I went on. What type of run? It was a big one, I can tell you that. And yeah, that's what I'll be talking about. And I'm going to save my mere mortal moment because it needs some explanation behind it, and then I'll do it afterwards.
Good. All right. Well, I've got the travesty of eating badly, and about the ineptitudes of banks, software, customer service.
Now, we've been trashing on banks a bit recently.
Good. I hope they get more trashed. They got enough money. They need to be called out. I won't call out the specific branch, but I won't call out the bank in general.
Okay.
So I'm going to get into my mere mortal moment.
Okay,
then.
yeah. To yours.
Mine is, it's not about the bank. It's actually about the junk stuff. So I'm reaching my junk eating limits. So what I mean by this. So just recently, I went to the Torium Pro, the CrossFit Torium Pro, which was held here in Brisbane. And I wasn't feeling too crash hot that day. So this was yesterday. I was feeling, like, let's say a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I woke up, I hadn't trained for a little while, and I thought, it's cool, I'm just going to get on there. I had to do a 15-minute walk or so where we parked to walk to get there. All cool, excellent. But then the only available food options that were there were like food trucks, right? Food trucks and some
Hot
Boost
dogs.
juice. Yeah, Greek food truck, nachos, that sort of thing. Burritos, right. So in the past, I would have said 20 to 25 years old. Eating this type of junk food, and I'll call this junk food because it's maybe high in sodium, quite high caloric intake, maybe it's whatever, low GI, whatever. That's what I call junk. And it turned my feeling of 4 out of 10, and just I can like pinpoint it just purely because I just ate that like the whole day while I was there, to like a 2 out of 10. Like I felt so woeful eating this food.
Did you at least have a perk up after it?
No perk up. There was
not
nothing.
even a perk,
I had to go because I thought, man, I'm feeling like really terrible. Like maybe I just haven't drunk enough water or something. I went to go buy a Powerade. And I drank that Powerade, and that was the only thing that gave me a little bit of a spike before I like just crashed again. And like honestly, by the end of the night session, Torium Pro, I thought I might have to leave here before this finishes, purely of how terrible I'm feeling. And then it kind of like sparked up after I went for a bit of a run back home just to another location, and then I felt a little bit better. But it just made me reminisce, man, I think eating shit is behind me now. Like actually eating pretty crappily I've got to put it on the back burner and go, okay, that's for later. Not even later, that's for never. I don't know if you experience that anymore with when you eat pretty terrible food every now and again.
Yeah.
Because yours is pretty consistent, the food that you eat.
Yeah, I rarely go for the junk foods. I mean, I remember actually when I went to the mines and I had the option. That was when I really had the option of eating trash because I was going home and I'd be at home for maybe 2 nights, 3 nights a week. Yeah. So there would be plenty, not really the opportunity for my normal thing of creating a big meal that'll last 4 or 5 days, and then just continually sort of repeating that, which and so I was getting annoyed with like having to cook these small meals all the time because I couldn't batch it like I normally did, and I had plenty of disposable income. I had no parents looking over my shoulder. I had all the constraints that are normally there were gone, and I started eating less. Like I just started to get away from it. It was like, I don't really like this. The McDonald's burger patty bun, it's too sweet. I don't like it. And I started just realizing that. So I've already, I think, gone through that process a bit. I'll eat a junk meal every now and then, but it's not my go-to. I'd rather have something, a bit more healthier, a bit more
Yeah, okay.
whatever.
So maybe I've now reached that point in my life. I've gone, maybe because I forcefully starting to see it now in a couple of occasions where I've had food and it's distinctly the food choices that have made me feel terrible. Whereas opposed to, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I might have been able to go, let's have a pizza for lunch, pizza for dinner. Nah, excellent. My energy's still all fantastic. Now I can start to see, I don't know, energy's decreasing really on the choices I make with food. So
yeah,
it's growing older, as we were saying a little bit earlier. Yeah. Everything I'm talking about, it's to do with like age and getting older. So yeah,
I think it could be like an amplifier type of thing. You're already feeling shitty that day. Yeah, you have something like that, it's going to make you feel worse. When you're in like a really good mood, you're drinking and with your friends and whatnot, you go out and then you eat some junk food, then, oh man, it's like, the best
fantastic
thing ever.
What you needed, yeah.
It'll still hit you hard the next day, probably, but in that moment, at least you get some mouth pleasure and whatnot. So, yeah, junk food, it's okay. And look, and then it depends what you mean by junk food. Because like sweets, man, I'm still down with them.
Heavy on the sweets, yeah.
I'm still.
But you don't feel terrible from the sweets.
Nah, I'm usually pretty good. Yeah.
Plus, it's not like you're binging on sweets. You're having them.
Depends.
Like a little bit.
So you give me a good cheesecake, man, and I can smash that down.
You're down and down. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I'll start with my running one because there's a bit more the serious, and you're talking about running as well. So I did a marathon. I've done it. People
done it. Tick it off. He's done it.
I have. So if you've been following recently, you would have said you would have seen me saying, "Oh, I wasn't happy with my previous efforts. Maybe I'm going to do more running again." After this meditation retreat, there was some of the learnings from that, and I realized I don't want to suffer anymore. Like I've had enough of suffering. So I just decided, no, this Saturday, I'm going to run. I'm going to do my marathon.
This Saturday gone by.
Yep. So 2 days ago. And, I hadn't really planned it out or prepped it or anything. I just said, it's getting done. Like, it doesn't matter how long it takes. So we've got a couple of games. There's a game for you and for the mere mortalites at home to play. What time did Kyrin get? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a description, a couple of pros and cons.
Okay.
And then you can make your mind up from there.
My assessment based on that.
So pro, I had been doing a lot of running beforehand, and I had built up somewhat of a capacity. Con, I hadn't run a long distance, I would say, for the 2 or 3 weeks prior. Although, pro, you were saying this is something that marathoners actually do. So I had unintentionally maybe done something good. Con, I had been drinking the night before, semi-heavily. So I was definitely a bit hungover. I would say on the hungover scale, I was probably, if 10 out of 10's like, kill me, I don't want to get up, I was probably around a 3.5. So not terribly, but still it was a little bit available. There. Con, I hadn't got that much sleep as well. It was less than my normal 8 hours, probably closer to 6. Pro, I'd just done a meditation retreat a week before, so I was,
fresh, mentally
probably the strongest I've been in a while. Like I had the capacity for doing something,
like
hard,
for
an extended period of time. Con, that day I was just, I just didn't feel super great. So, with all that being said, what do you think? I did my running time, and I actually ran past this area here.
Okay.
For those who want to see, I'll put the details up, but I ran from the Kangaroo Point Cliffs all the way to the peak of West End, back there, and then back again, and then back there, and then an extra 2Ks just to make up the distance.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a long distance.
Damn. All right, well, I'm going to say, first of all, that I don't think you achieved the 4-hour mark. And I'm going to say we came close. So I'm going to say 4 hours and 6 minutes and 22 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Man, this guy, he has faith in me. I can tell you that I did not do that. And I can tell you. I was going to say...
I had faith because I thought that the break-in, the 3 weeks would have been like, okay, I was saying, calves are not sore, legs are not sore. So even though you were feeling it, I'm thinking in my mind, once you're 10 kilometers in, and because you're going to have to do it, you're going to go, yep. Okay, now I'm in the roll. Okay, so I said 4 hours, 6 minutes. How off was I?
You're off by almost 3 hours.
What?
So I did it in an hour. No, this was a bloody long run. I started here on Saturday afternoon at 12:57 p.m. and it took me 6 hours, 58 minutes and 36 seconds. So
dang. Okay. What was your half marathon time?
For that, it was awful, man. It was absolutely awful. So I'll show you my little chart here, and I'll put some of these things online on the video. So I started off, and I was feeling okay, but I came into it saying, I don't want to kill myself. Like, I want to make this the least amount of suffering as possible. Mm-hmm. So for me, that meant like already accepting I'm not going to do it in 4 hours. Fine. That's totally cool.
But it's just going to get done.
It's just got to get done. So I started jogging. Felt okay for the first, like 2-3 kilometers. It was all right. Not a hugely crazy pace. It was probably 5 minutes. So I can look here. It was probably around the 5 minutes 30 for those first couple of Ks. And then it just went up and up and up. So I finished 10 Ks in just over an hour. Okay. So you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe that's not too bad. Yep. Around that stage, I was thinking, if I can do it in less than 5 hours, that would be nice. So then I keep going. And then on the way back, I'm just losing motivation. And I start taking longer walks. And then I get back, so I get to the halfway point roughly, and I go, man, my calves actually hurt. My feet actually hurt. Everything's starting to hurt quite a fair bit. And so in that time as well, the first 10 Ks took an hour. I think the second 10 Ks took probably closer to an hour and 45 or something.
Right, okay. Like that first time you did a half marathon where it was like, it's just an absolute drag.
Yeah, it shot up. So it was, I think the first time I did a half marathon was still shit, but the worst was when I did it when I was fasting. That was the worst one,
okay, yeah, sorry, yeah.
So I'd done, half marathon. It was probably around the 2 hour for a little bit more than, just under 3 hours, I think. Just under 3 hours. So then I'm thinking like, oh, okay, maybe 6 hours is like a good time limit to aim for. And then,
I would have been like, yes, definitely.
Yeah. And then as I'm just coming back here, I remember coming along this area here in South Bank, and I just had to like literally lie down on a bench, just lift my legs up, sort of massage my calves. I was just not feeling good, man. I was feeling terrible, but I had in my mind like, I'm going to do this. And actually, when I got there, I started doing some calcs. So I reached there and I'm 3 hours in. And I go, okay, feasibly, how much longer could this take? Could this take more than 4 hours, for example? So, because then...
Like if I just walked it there and back, how long is it going to take?
Yeah. Well, it was more like, if I stop right now, I'm still going to have to do a marathon at some point. So that's going to be another at least another 4 hours. Yeah. And then you're not going to run it fast, so it's going to be additional. No. All right, I'll get it done today. So I was doing the calcs.
Big balls, Kyrin.
And like the calcs made sense in my mind. But man, when I get to, all the way to the West End for another time, the sun's set by then, I'm walking on my own, like I'm feeling super seedy, just walking around. It was an awful experience from not the start, but from close to the start to the end.
Okay.
I reached the point where it's like, okay, finally, like I'm on the home stretch, 11 Ks to go. And just coming back here, I actually reached a point where I was like, actually, if I keep up this pace, I can do it in less than 7 hours. So I actually managed to get a little bit of motivated.
Sub 7 hours, yeah.
Yeah, and so then I was like walking hard, and it got to a point where I didn't think I could run. The pain that I was experiencing in my knee was so bad that I thought, this is actually like not good for my knee.
There's like a detrimental pain here.
Trying to sustain this for a while would be really bad.
You got to just sink into the suffering of it.
Yeah, what I actually had to do was not run in that really shit shuffling jog sort of pace. I had to actually move up, like sort of kick up my knees a bit higher, and then it went away a little bit. And then so I did all this, and I was like, all right, yeah. And then it gave me the motivation to do it in less than 7 hours. So I could have actually done this probably a little bit quicker if I wanted to. But I was like, no, 7 hours, got to be at 7 hours. So I did all that, and then it's just like,
What was the post run like?
I was just like, well, I was happy. I didn't get like a runner's high or anything. I was just happy, like, yes, it's done.
It's done.
I don't have to do this anymore. Like, I'm finished. Woo! And then I, come to the realization, like, fuck, it's like 8:30 at night now. It was just after 8 o'clock, probably 8:15. I still have to drive home. I still have to have a shower. I still have to, like, I'm normally eating food at this stage of the night. Yeah. And it just totally blew out my whole afternoon. Like, I was expecting, maybe be back like 6 to 7.
Yeah, I was going to say 6 to 7 p.m. Like 5-6 hours. Okay, plenty of time.
So, that was, I'm happy that I got it done.
So you're going to be a long-time runner now? Lifetime runner.
I looked up the Gold Coast Half Marathon cutoff time. I wouldn't have made it. 6 hours 40. So mere mortals, Juan has to try and beat at least that. Get some semblance.
It's not like we should have been aiming for 4 hours, just aiming to not be cut off a marathon.
yeah. So that was my little experience. So how does this relate to you? Well, you are doing something.
Amazing.
I would say just as extreme as a marathon, which is 96 Ks. It's double the length, but you're not intentionally trying to run it. But it is up and down. Maybe it's even more extreme. I'm worried for you, man. I'm worried about how sore your feet are getting. I'm worried for your just your legs. I think your upper body will be fine. I think your core will be fine, but I think you're really going to hurt. Have you bought new things in?
No.
Are you going to get some?
No. I will. I will have to get some new I'm going to get some new shoes probably in the next week or two.
Better wear them in, man, because you will be in rip up my shoes.
Actually, one thing that they do suggest, which I thought this is 100% me, because then last time I did the 20k hike, like by the end of it, my feet were hurting from the shoes just like gripping them in. They did suggest that there are some portions of it that are a little bit more of not up and down, but there's a couple of just straight paths for a K or two. Bring thongs. They were like, bring thongs.
Oh, really?
Because if you really need it, like they don't recommend you take your shoes off. Because once you put them on, some of the recommendations are like, just keep it on if you're hiking.
Yeah.
But if you need to, the one suggestion is like, okay, put the thongs on. Like, take your shoes off, have thongs to just let your feet basically expand for a little while in there, but let them get a bit of breathing.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I might try and do a little bit of that. I think that will probably help me out for sure. And also in my checkpoint, I'll probably be taking my shoes off and relaxing them. There's going to be some pain. There is going to be some pain. By the time I finished that 20-odd K hike, I could feel it mostly in my glutes. My knees were actually okay, which was quite nice. And it was only the downhill periods that I was concerned about, really.
Yeah.
So once I get some of the poles, maybe it'll transfer a little bit. I think I'm going to have a similar experience to you. Like, okay, you don't walk out of this 96-kilometer hike saying
fresh
like,
this
was fine. This is totally fine.
Yeah.
It actually makes me think that your time of the marathon, right? So the quickest time to do that 96 kilometer, I think the course record is 12 hours and 40 odd minutes. So this dude almost doing your pace, but just running, faster than your pace.
Yeah.
But running up and down a mountain.
You know what the funny thing is? What I did some of my own calc. So
yep.
Really easy, like 42 kilometers. Let's say you're doing 6 Ks an hour, 6 times 7. So that's 7 hours. That's how long you should do it. So if I'd been, and I was walking, I managed to walk at 6 kilometers an hour. So if I'd just been walking and not done any running, but just kept up a really, brisk walk, I would have been able to do it. So I asked myself, would I have been in a better position physically after doing that? Probably yes. Because I started getting weird pain like in the back of my knees. I started getting it in the hips and all places.
And what's today's feeling like? How's your body? So a couple of days now after Saturday, so 2 days afterwards?
2 days afterwards, the bottom of my feet just really hurt. That's probably the things that hurt the most. I didn't get any blisters or anything like that, but just the bottom of my feet hurt. It's like my bones have been smushed. Yeah. Something like that.
And you didn't do it barefooted. You did it with shoes.
No, I did this with shoes.
It would have been interesting if you had done it barefooted.
Yeah, it's like disappointing because I did get a very good half marathon at one. I mean, it was more than that. I got a very good like 28 Ks where I'd done 28 Ks in like 2.5 hours, something like that. And so then it was just like, man.
You'd almost have been better pressed in those days when you did a half marathon at that quick pace to just blitz it and go for a marathon at that point. And even if it takes you 4 hours, it would have been a better time.
It still would have been better. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, got me thinking, would you rather spend 7 hours meditating or 7 hours running?
7 hours running.
If I said tomorrow,
7 hours
you have
running.
to do, okay. Now, what if I said you have to do that for a week? Would you do?
Running.
Yeah? What
Running.
if a month?
Yep.
Really?
Even if you go a year.
All of that? Wow. Yep. Okay.
There is no way I
thought that would be a harder question for you.
There's not. Meditating for that period of time for me it would be like mind-blowingly hard for me.
Even when your body though is at like
yes
deteriorating beyond belief.
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
There you go. All right.
And I almost think it because I would be so incentivized in the running aspect of it in some sort of gamified way. Like I'd gamify it with the steps, with the time. One day might be slower, the next day I try to improve on it. With the meditation, I just don't think I could gamify it in the same way. And while it has its own benefits, like it's all good and whatever, yeah, I'm just the type of person that I'd go like mad if I had to do that. If I had to do a year of meditating every day for 7 hours,
yeah,
one will never be a monk. That is definitive.
Yeah, I think went through. I would probably go for one-off. I'd probably do the run, just like a one-off thing.
Mm-hmm.
If it was in a period of maybe a month-ish, I'd probably choose the meditation. And then if it was longer than that, I'd probably go back to the running again. Because I think I could handle the meditation for that long. But but for like a year, or I don't know, man. That's a lot. That's a lot.
When you got me at a day. You got me at a day. I was
yeah.
Maybe you said like if you had to run
like 2 minutes.
Really hard hour or meditate for an hour, okay. You can sway me to the hour of meditation. You can sway me there.
Okay.
But beyond that, it's starting to be a little bit flimsy.
Any more stuff you got for this one?
Well, I was going to talk about the banking one, but I might save that one for a little bit later because I know we went a little bit longer than
that's
this
cool. All right, so I've got one more story to tell. So I recently went to the QPAC Theatre, which is, you can't see it in any of this, but it's just down the road here.
Yes, further north from us.
Yeah, and I went there with my family, and we went to it was sort of like a mixture of an orchestra, but they would have singers come out onto the stage as well. So usually it was like a male and a woman, or maybe just a woman doing a solo. And they did a mix of very classical songs, so like some from West Side Story, they did some from and then they do one from Frozen, and then they do one from Mary Poppins and whatnot. And they had Phantom of the Opera playing on the huge organ as well.
Oh, yep.
Oh, super cool, man. That was actually really awesome. I want an organ. And anywho, all finished up. Like we go downstairs. My parents need to go to the bathroom, so me and my brother sort of like just walk to the bottom of the stairs. And we're sitting there, and this seedy-looking guy, sort of wearing what I'm wearing now, like, a little bit like hunched over, a little bit of a scraggly beard, a little bit of a jumper going on, a little bit of everything, Juan, a little bit. And he comes up, and he's sort of like sideways, like looking a bit weird, and he comes and says to my brother, "Hey, do you want some Coke?" I'm just going, what the shit?
This is Australia?
Not even this is Australia. This is like a classical sort of theatre thing. Like what the hell is going on here? And both me and him like look at each other and just go, and then he makes it more explicitly, and I misunderstood him. He said, "Do you want a Coke?" And there was a vending machine right next to it, and he'd pressed. There was 2 vending machines, and he'd pressed the buttons on the wrong one, looking at this one, because he's a seedy drug dealer who doesn't understand how vending machines work. So he got a Coke when he didn't want one. Yeah. And he's trying to like give away this free Coke, but he didn't even like pull it out.
The Coke,
pull it out of the machine or have it in his hand. He just comes out and like, "Do you want a Coke?
I feel like he wanted to be seedy at that point.
Yeah.
He wanted to be seedy.
So that was just a funny experience of like, man, I've been offered drugs in some places in my life, but even some weird places, I guess, in Mexico. But I was going to be like, damn, son. Not even like before, it was like a kick on after the orchestra. So this will get me to my mere mortal moment.
Dang.
Why, yes, I will take some drugs with my classical music. Surprised you even need to ask. To be fair, I think if you get offered drugs in that sort of scenario, they're probably good, man. Like they're probably good quality.
Yeah, probably like the highest quality you can find.
That's what I would assume. So recommendation out there for anyone. If you're looking for quality stuff,
go to the orchestra.
Go to QPAC Theatre. Good. All right, so we'll leave it there for today. Thank you for joining us, Mere Mortalites, for
thank you, folks.
Our meanderings, not musings.
Meanderings.
Meanderings on running. Meanderings on. We'll get to the bank stuff soon, I'm sure.
Yep.
That'll be a fun topic. We always like trashing out the banks.
We do.
And what can you do? What would you do in terms of running or meditation? Leave a suggestion in the comments of what you would do. Meander upon all of the good things in life. I'm getting a bit tired now, so Juan, take us away.
Very good. All right, folks, that's it. One out.
Kyrin out.
Boom.
Zamal.